It's if we but once again about Ifidikesi, so Pinaxtv. We all know the issue at war Iran. I'm talking about the US Israel Iran war. Now the whole world, everyone is really watching, and we are seeing how events are unfolding day by day and second by second, hour by hour, and it is getting really scary to the extent say Ghana full binum kra. UAE, United Arab Emirates. I'm talking about Kuwait, Qatar, Dubai, any Beirut, any other countries Arab. No, you could see that they are even getting hit by some of the missiles Iranian for the conflict it is actually evolving and escalating to the other Middle Eastern countries. But then there is a significant development is here. It's here for in some the US is also taking very keen interest at what is really happening in our beloved country Ghana. Now, their videos a bit more share, but some of us really anticipate that this particular thing will happen. Yes, we really anticipate it. We really saw say BBC ebeba. Now, if you for we need the US for security services and in Yama we are seeing especially how they do counter terrorism. We say if be Africom. Now, Africom basically the US African Command, and on my nitia and we try nitia African US Africom. Basically, Africom. Now, me no can say it's true for any a soldier from penny for Ababe Piemu. Ghana has say, and the first person that they met is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, mind you, there is a video I share for you to know why they came and why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama even met them in the first place. If you watch what is on the screens, I'll say yesterday, General Dagvin Anderson sat down with Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama for a candid conversation on partnership and shared security interests. No theatrics, just two leaders on the idea to make the entire region secure. So the pictures are also on the screens now. Say what is really going on now. We are learning say General Dagvin one of US for more penny for military commanders or buy and obisia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Na mani any saying on John Dramani Mahama kasa on how at the end of the day they can make Ghana powerful in the region. I'm talking about making Ghana so powerful like Israel. Why? Because across all Ghana's borders, what we are seeing is that there's terrorism. Now we are northern border. We saw what really happened there. Now we are your southern border. We saw say a year Togo for or my senior marina. They are harassing our military soldiers, saying say in soon what Ghana for you're now phoning in a more DB to oil never more. So we could see say these people who are supposed to be our neighbors, they are now our adversaries. Which show me yes, so they saw said no. America needs to protect the country Ghana amidst all of these conflicts and escalation. Of course, we are so thereby I was saying equip a crony year. So that is how you are seeing say mobile His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Intuition you see no theatrics, just two leaders, just His Excellency, that's His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and General Dagvin Anderson. And I'll say these two leaders have aligned on an idea to make the entire region more secure. The entire region was more secure. Now, I told you, sir, there is a video involved because there are a lot of things that are also at a point in time, they even went further to the US Embassy to have a sit down with various people in high office right here in this particular country, and that is exactly what we are about to see on the screen as an video. They spoke about a lot of things. I know most of you have your reservations about the United States, its army, and the but the main aim as they want to fight terrorism. They want to equip Ghana with all the ballistic missiles, all the intelligence, all the machines, all the warfare. Secure border because terrorism and our border, our northern parts, I'll say this is coming from the US Embassy. Also, General Dagvin Anderson, commander of US Africa, spoke with Joy News Blazer Suga during his recent visit to Ghana. Anderson discussed how US African Command stands ready to support African countries facing growing security challenges and stressed the critical role of the United States of America. African partnerships in countering these threats. So now, they are telling us why Sisiano, in some way, at the end of the day, the US Command Center, that's the US African Command Center, or PM Ghana. As say, and they want to use here as one of the intelligence places on fight terrorism, not just in this country, but also across the sub-region. There is a video involved. Here's a quick one. About
that as we watch that. One of the things that we do at AFRICOM and within the U.S. military is we look at these terrorist threats globally. So we understand how these networks evolve and move. And what we have seen is what you just described is that a large portion of that network has migrated into the Sahel. They found refuge there in ungoverned space, and they have taken advantage of that. And we see that with the disruptions in the local area, the mass migration, the refugees that are created from that. Unfortunately, that then creates violence that spills over. And my heart goes out to the Ghanaians that just, some businessmen, some folks that were up there just doing trade in Burkina Faso were killed by violent extremists. They're just doing their daily job. And so this is the terrible price that instability brings. And unfortunately, it affects all members of the region, not just in those isolated areas. So we are very concerned about that. And that's a large portion of the reason why I've been traveling to many countries around the region, is to look where we can partner, because no one nation can take this threat on alone. And so where can we partner? What are the things that the United States can bring that we have the unique capabilities to bring forward? And how do we work with our partners to address this threat?
And that unfortunate incident has been an awakening moment for many actors in coastal West Africa who often feel that this is a remote threat. Because when these things happen, we're just hearing of the news in the Sahel and all of that. You have an overview. What's your assessment of how remote or otherwise these threats are from coastal West Africa?
So I think it's hard to quantify what that is, but the threat is real today. I mean, even if you just look at the indirect impacts of how does this affect migration, the refugees, but how does it affect the economy? How does it affect the production of food? So food prices go up because of instability in a region where they can no longer grow food. It creates crises. And so these indirect effects then have ripple effects into the greater community. So I'm sure people across the region feel these secondary effects. But then the danger is that as these threats continue to metastasize and take hold, they will migrate further. These terrorists don't know boundaries. They don't know borders. So we haven't seen them willfully stop at any one location. So I think the threat is eventually they'll continue to move. Now, I can't tell you where they'll move or how fast they'll move, but our experience has been they will continue to seek refuge and seek to disrupt. And so I think that's the concern for everyone. And even if they don't come directly into a country or an area and attack directly, the impacts are clear. I think just increase in food price is a great example of those impacts that that people feel every day in their lives.
Have we been able to effectively tease out what their motive is, or perhaps what they want? That's been a difficulty for many.
So there's what they publicly espouse. And I don't think that what they espouse publicly always comports to how they act. And what it seems to me that they want to do is they want to disrupt any kind of local governance or functioning local institutions that then allow them to exploit the population and exploit the resources that are there. And that, to me, is what they have continued to do throughout the Sahel. I don't think they are constructive in any manner. I don't see the things or the institutions that they have built. They seem to just tear things down and then extract for their own benefit. And so that to me, I think, is the greater concern that we see, is the destruction of local communities and governances across the region.
And I was asking that question because of the unfortunate incident involving Ghanaians. These are just traders,
exactly.
Not government officials.
Right.
And the indication we get is that they used to allow them, safe passage. It's no longer the case. So it's becoming a challenge, really identifying what the motive is.
Yeah, I think I would be concerned, and I would not trust safe passage from a terrorist organization, because just like you said, it can turn at their whim. And innocent people just doing their daily business can become victims. And so, like you said, it wasn't just a government official. It wasn't the military. These were people carrying out their everyday lives. And so I think that's the concern as well, is the fact that these terrorists are willing to take lives without remorse, and that they can affect everyday people in such a I mean, that's incredibly disruptive, and I mean, it's horrible. And to be able to do that without any real offer on the other side, what is it they actually bring?
Yeah.
And that's the concern that we have with this, and we have for several years, as we've seen. We've suffered these attacks in the United States, and it took that attack in New York to wake us up.
Yeah.
But since then, we have been working to address this threat in many different locations around the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the AFRICOM boss, Mr. Anderson, and Odin Tuja. The head and tail is that U.S. fast track here, we say terrorism, no. Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, it is coming to Ghana, our doorsteps, 18 years. And then they say that Ghana, we don't have the necessary prerequisite materials. So the thing is, let us come and attack the problem head on. So they came to Ghana. Now, in the last part, so you heard what he said. Or see, the United States also was once upon a time facing terrorism. And some are now all canon until he specifically mentioned New York. Remember the 9/11 attack. Okay, 2001 9/11 attack, September 11th attack. A year plane echo board the Twin Towers. Over 3,000 or 5,000 people died. And no nama US for many the war in Iran, the genesis if you will. Now, far from all of these things are echo no party says see Ghana no omoba any soldiers for no ababedi tenase a train you more the necessary tools. I can't deal with him. They are fighting terrorism. And then General Anderson made mention of Burkina Faso. And not sure say US for now you kun Ghana for Burkina Faso terrorists for Ghana for Burkina Faso. The US was alarmed. Into can say our condolences to the families, which means US for who say no. Yan sheni here a be kakra ye top ye nothing side or cry. Northern region upper east near there the untimi enko. Because some more can hear the point or say that this terrorist organization or you say they know no boundaries. Omunim boundary, which means omunim maybe on base omoko. It's even one much Ghana for your North Africa. The US is saying say they wouldn't let that happen. Now, there is a price to pay for everything, but we don't know the price of Ghana for we pay for this. We don't know why the US all of a sudden wants to help us. It may be for a good cause, which we like it, but then it may also be said they also stand to gain something. Is it because Russia is gaining foothold in parts of Africa, West Africa, Burkina Faso, near the India? Let's make Ghana a safe haven. Not in Ghana, no. We also have a foothold there. These are big questions that here for we all live to see what will happen in the near future. But before I met to ask, my man before we have me a new way shout out. We here Abdullah Idris. I say good morning to you, or I'm watching you live from Saudi Arabia. Abdullah, yes, bombi so mami update. If I now say also Saudi Arabia. So what's really happening? And away if Prince Kobe 1971. I'll say great updates, bro. Thanks very much, Prince Kobe. So we'll be moving on to a rather sad news at LFE, the camp of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Eba. We all know about the Israel-Iran conflict. I mean, okay, say the Israel-Iran conflict. US for about joining. But in all of these things, so Kamia questions the person abroad for no on person target on person mukuno tinitin ye. And sani pay a person kuno no unfortunately no His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Nipa ebimo person mu boni tro on person mu yen bibi boni ekuno. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I don't take my words for it. Take on one person the prophet Nigel Gaisie in some of the Ababe Tuja. Now, yeah, that's already a prophet Nigel Gaisie. I could post a whole lot of things on the social media handle, the Facebook to be precise. I also say Mahama should be very careful. Yeah. The reason why Mahama should be very careful is that simple, because there are some people in term by the end of this year, Papa no obewu. Mind you, last year we saw that plane crash. I see helicopter crash. Mahama was supposed to be in that plane. Into the car, try ni intimi nkuno accident kwa Mahama we nya accident ama ne convoy no ebi mu kura wom the same Mahama wa escape a helicopter ni plane crash. So now if you try car na intimi anko you try your friend is saying plane so intimi anye den enkuno. And also no at the end of the day no obie ni krom ha or time Mahama or sorry so ko boni to anaso ko ekudita. The soldiers are active and protecting him. So if all of these places are blocked, what should we do as a people? And now Gaisie say, so let's put this on the screens for you to know exactly what he's saying. So this came from a Rainbow Radio. Or say, or not to post it on Facebook, but then we want to read it from here. Or say, President Gaisie warns of murder plot against a high-profile figure, security breach at Jubilee House. Now, even though he did not mention His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we know exactly the persona or occupy the Jubilee House. Yentie in Sema Oka or say popular and often controversial seer prophet Gaisie has released series of urgent prophetic alerts urging the nation to enter into a season of intense prayer. Taking to his official Facebook page, the leader of the Prophetic Hill Chapel expressed a heavy heart, claiming he has tried to remain silent, but the consistency of these visions have compelled him to speak. According to Gaisie, no, the Lebanon na on person obeka ho asem. Ofra ban penifo bi ni omo kasa say, papa na wo Jubilee House no ebi person mu boni tuoku no. People want to murder him. So Osha top word now or say major security breach. But at the end of the day, I don't know if his message has not gone across or not. We don't know what really happened. And because of that, or see intimi and shen. So because I shen so helicopter ebe straight from Kofu into Beka. The person will be amunyan. Yinti or taking to his official Facebook page, the leader of the Prophetic Hill Chapel expressed a heavy heart, claiming he has tried to remain silent, but the consistency of these visions have compelled him to speak. The prophecies touch on sensitive areas of national life, including a high-profile security, the aviation sector, and religious leadership. So now, Gaisie is telling us, say, there are places attack win and murder win. Number one, national life. It's a program being near the bit missing or two. It involves a high-profile security. Is it Mahama? Is it Vice President Jenana? Or say it also involves the aviation sector. Aviation, which means that the people may be planning, say, map plane and also no say, and also the religious leadership. A bimu ewo kromo me asofo a omo bonpa say papa no onwu na nipa omashen come somebody president ombedi. Or say the most chilling of the 6-point statement involves a claim of a targeted assassination. And Gaisie, in some of the betuja, the amount for him to show mom say, let's take this man serious. Assassination of this particular high-profile person or Jubilee House, which we believe it is Mahama. Or say, Gaisie warned that there is a sponsored murder being plotted against a very big person in the country. Once again, who is this person? Who is this person that yitua omukasa omunko bo a particular person? In this case, on a particular person, yes, Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Who are those people? We want to know. Or say, he then turned his attention to assemblies of God. Are you listening to what is going on? He then turned his attention to the assemblies of God. But before they not say, while he did not name the individual, the gravity of the language used has already sparked discussions regarding the safety of political and social endings. He then turned his attention to the assemblies of God Church, urging the denomination to intercede specifically for its leaders. Now, Nigeria is but sorry, people chrome her. Your friend assemblies of God. And if you know what is really going on, assemblies of God, and John Dramani Mahama, he fellowships. So clearly, what two one in a common say, you guys should intercede on the man's behalf. So be kuno. Someone will assassinate him because a chrome hano ya boy be more pastor or munko disabode no. I'm happy with what I keep seeing. Also, I'm not happy with what I keep seeing. He noted, suggesting he has already reached out privately when possible. The prophet also directed the nation's prayer focus toward the seat of government. He called for the intercession of the Jubilee House specifically mentioned the need to abort and avert any bad news arriving in the from diaspora. In a specific prediction regarding domestic travel, Prophet Gaisie cautioned the local aviation industry to sit up. So now Gaisie Air Party said they may try to kill the man, shoot him, or assassinate him, and that's somebody better aviation. Clearly, the people want to make sure another plane crash involving Mahama may come on. Who are these people? Now, Pastor said he's actually reached out to Pinaxtv, our catcher. But then, Osha said, see his full post below. See, really, I had the full post. I say, I'm trying very, very hard not to say the things I see about the nation of Ghana anymore. But these keep coming more often and consistently. Let us take note and pray about it. Number one, let the Assemblies of God Church in Ghana, let them pray for their leaders. I've done the little I can in my little corner. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. 2, let us keep praying for the Jubilee House. Let God abort and avert any bad news coming from the diaspora as well. 3, let's pray and be more vigilant at our entry points. 4, let us pray for peace and prosperity for all. 5, there's going to be a sponsored murder of a very big person. Or say there's going to be a sponsored murder. Who is this person? Old Jubilee House. 6, let the local aviation set up. I saw a local flight bring us pain before the end of June 2020. Somebody said aviation ministry. We are for no. Yes, some Montana because Kwasiebi abopa say we are measure from. I'm a Ghanaian ni yesu. This is exactly what a year Nigel Gaisie Eka. Said clearly no. Osha he's referring to yes, Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, Obia on the reservation go back as Nigel Gaisie no. Oka na the end of the day yakaso intercede or so we be here when your money ska. But then Mahama nkasa and nanui oba ya or the Insembe 2 just say you know what Insembe bresi helicopter crash no ebi mo si omu hu enti si anu hu prophecy bia ye wo hotline e wo Jubilee House. So what you have to do is just call. So fresh our hotline na kaso menya me prophecy we na me hu ye oka you better try to her and they work on it because Mahama Ayobia he takes religious matters very seriously. So that is exactly what is really a year going on. I mean, we are all monitoring this particular thing of events, and at the end of the day, you better share see in regards with all of this particular issue because definitely in same Bible was say a course and I say about this issue course. Now you better so near a year in some for so it's therefore if you know what is really going on in this world, see a time of war. We read it Ecclesiastes, the Bible clearly tells us that there's time for everything. There's time for peace and there's time for war. And clearly that is exactly what is really going on. Now, me can't say Iran ni US Israel war kwasoro. Yesi I say Iran supreme leader ya the bomb akukuno. Na eno ena me no kasa mafo be say why did they do that? A conflict na ekoso. Your military and their military should fight. So why do you kill their leader? And Kofu be reacting for Ghana yeti I pay one sem ne kamya kwesen Kofu be person koka ebe kan. Why? Because minuka say no chief imam. Nipa asem nipa ne pa asem chief imam of Ghana minim so no na kasa o na say bimu na I don't know why what is really happening. But then the chief imam of Ghana abone the US condemn more actions in killing the supreme leader of Iran. Now, don't take my word for it. Let's put this on the screens. Chief Imam condemns killing of Iran's supreme leader and urges for respect of sovereignty. So this is coming from Joy News. And to even top all of this, they even added a press release. Say, Oba Ghana Krumha, Ghana, we don't support the US actions. Kawedian Chief Imam Kasama. Why? Because bomb. Anyways, this is the letter Let's read what is on the screens. Or share the whole screens. No, sir. Or say, message of condolence from the National Chief Imam to the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran following the assassination of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Al-Khamenei. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, and the merciful. You see, the National Chief Imam, already message about in regards to the killing of a Iran Supreme Leader. In social, they will say under the leadership of the eminent Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Usman Nuhu Sharubutu, and the Muslim community, in Ghana has been thrown into a state of sorrow following the assassination of Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. His Eminence therefore sends to the government and people of Iran a message of condolence, and as they mourn the fallen icon in the global Islamic fraternity. It is here and part say, oh, see and Rapani Yakuno no, or the Chief Imam, any Muslims for na omonde jantro anaso omusuno e kasa pay no oyobia na osefata. That is what Chief Imam is saying. Terrorists were you. Chief Imam said oyobi osefata or ye icon. Which kind of icon is this? Icon of sponsored terrorism. This is what each Chief Imam is saying. So ono the icon momo. It is saying omo and also they are protesting how the US killed him. Also, the Grand Imam describes Ayatollah Al-Khamenei as a pious man who combines service to his people and worship of Allah to showcase the symbiosis between religion and governance as compatible tools of social order and national development. It's according to a Chief Imam, no. Papai ayabu yeku no na US for assassinating no. Oyobi otimide eye omusom Islam omusom no. Ede hye aban mu nti no ukọ eye Iran ho a sabio oba kwa ntimi yuti ento so ntimi ye niam bi because ye the Islam in church no ene dia hye aban ene judicial ni omu constitution mu eno pass eno ene ye ade a eboa a betimama oman etumpon. Also, the Supreme Leader, okay, was also a symbol of resistance and hope for the oppressed. His Eminence further extols the martyred leader of Iran. One of us said, "Neither ni ekuno no, a Supreme Leader no, or you be a na ojina homa resistance," which means say, in kofu peso mudi usono, and I would the waya sa penny into waya sans ashen so dear, ojina ho a man and crop for. Ah, then the day no, yes, chat or nipa or sombo. The Reverend Imam is equally saddened by the loss of all the lives in the conflict, Jewish or American, Arab or Persian. He appeals to all warring factions to respect the sovereignty of nations, the dignity of humanity, and sanctity of Ramadan. And I say all the people who saw American, Arab, Persian, and also Ramadan air course. The air course what's a course within this time. His Eminence called for an end in all hostilities. Indeed, escalating rhetorics must give way to peace-building pragmatics, he emphasizes. He observes that the conflict is largely geopolitical, but interfaith harmony has a role in search of solution. In the wisdom of His Eminence, contemporary society needs a new global order that articulates the centrality of right over might. This, he contends, will consolidate peace and security for the entire of humanity. And if I say, Chief Imam, we need a new global order, which means that the Trump or many because I was said ocean for more rights, and I say, I don't know how to put it, but then and I was out the age when yet to me over and I was try say may Allah okay, I think so we need to let it go up. And I was try to say may Allah, okay. The merciful, yes, I say may Allah's perpetual mercy be on the soul of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and all those, and on those of all the people who departed the path of righteousness, concludes His Eminence. So, I say, yeah, bomb pies Yankopon and Chesa supremely the year bonny to US for bonny to Kuni, Yankopon and Shannon Fan and Tunakoko. So now, Chief Imam, okay, and also a Kasa. about this issue. Me no ka say issue or they can say on tiase say US for eku a supreme leader as a supreme leader, and according to him oyobia ojina ho like it's basically like the Kwame Nkrumah in Middle East because it's ruled Iran for 37 years and it's always stopped US from achieving their agenda. But name no US for abe kuna just osha yasema odwin ho kra ontiase. Now you bet to us on your coins for us because this whole Iran-Israel conflict, no, mind you, utimu say Ghana for no, yehu edim kakra. If you've been studying and following the reports on this particular platform, realize that this whole Iran-Israel conflict, no, Ghana for yehu ekwa kudim. Now, in this particular report, you understand why I'm saying say Ghana for, and they say yehu kwa kudim, yehu edim, ama yenkofo bi mu astart e prepra e wu. This is how sad the situation is. Tinye, sa Israel-Iran conflict no Ghana for yehu akodimu ama yenkrofo bi mu astart e prepra yenkrofo bi mu astart e wu. In this particular next video question, you understand why. Therefore, you will understand why. Any car will say we are live. You can bring in your comments or comment section. Now at the end of the day, be ready a year. The question your views be ready in our platform no so. Therefore, what you are watching on the screens, no, who say be shit, and ye be a shikeke. A Iran-Israel conflict, US-Iran-Israel conflict. Now, a question, and I'm no saying one of the bombs and our drones. Ye nim maybe a drone if US na, if Israel na, if Iran na. We don't know. Be any says I drone ye ako bought baby a Ghana for ye UN peacekeeping for ewo Lebanon. Emma me no say a bimo 9 atete. I'm not making this up, please. I'm not making this up because me no say no. Aban penny for Ababe Kasa, the president of Lebanon Ababe Kasa, the president of Spain Ababe Kasa, UN for Ababe Kasa. This is bad. We are learning say a total of 6 Ghanaians have maybe have had their legs blown off or maybe seriously injured. I'm a bumukra here to say a idea now before I quote the statements, coming from Ghana's foreign minister Okuduta Blakwa on why this thing even happened in the first place, and how come I see a Ghana for obi koneko and I am call for makosa mukoye peacekeeping omu ewu. Why? What is really happening? Let's share the scene of what really happened. Babaka, Betwaso.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Radiboy. Oh. Charlie.
Okay, so what you just watched no Ghanaian or ye soldier no so ye peacekeeping Lebanon ho. It's bomb ni bomb se pool no and I say Jesus Christ. I deal we are ekoso no enye. And as I told you, Ghana for ya yehu akwakodim ama yenkrofo ebinom. Omo 9 year de ade atete etie for very sad o. Me ko pe bibie di ene me be ye den na yenkrofo ipo enye se ebi omo ko pe bibie di o. Omo ko said they want to ensure peace. And it's here for obi ekoneko me no ka say no yeti hu fifre. What you say? Yeti hu fifre. What have we done? Now I told you say Ghana's foreign minister Omababe confirming this particular issue. Let's put this on the screens. I'll say Ghana battalion position in southern Lebanon comes under missile attack. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the Ghana Armed Forces. In fact, it is verified. It tells you the severity of this particular issue. They are telling us, say, Asama Ekosono, Ayampa video na yesheno, Ayampa. We are learning, say, even there were some females who were part of it. They've had their legs, or Munania, they are the attitude. I just say, Enyasem Kitwa. Now, yeshe de waha. Omuchemu amaye the real deal as to what is really going on now. I say press release. Ghana battalion in southern Lebanon comes under missile attack. You see, I know this coming from the Ghana Armed Forces. Okay. I say the Ghana Armed Forces wishes to inform the general public that a fallout of the current ongoing IDF and Hezbollah exchanges in southern Lebanon, the Ghanaian battalion headquarters in the UN, that's the United Nations Interim Force, that's the UNIFIL. Lebanon came under 2 missile attacks between 5:45 p.m. in the evening and also 5:52 p.m. local time today. Okay, no problem. The party said I didn't attack Nisi enumerate somewhere between 5 to 6 p.m. local time. You say you almost share that time, but you know it's 5 p.m. So 2 soldiers are critically injured while 1 has been traumatized. Additionally, the officers' mess facility also got hit and has been bent down completely. For more part say, I think so we need to put this whole screenshot on the screen. Someone who the echo so. More part say, attack here see you know. Idea uyem kra be so because maybe na Ghana for soldiers ya bodom pem metimakas omu base Ghana for UN peacekeepers omu base no e wona de no e ba directly inte ba directly sa na say yen crofo na wo ho no aka omu no mo chere say ye base na build na no mu anka sa building e she completely. So video na edit so that is an actual video, we are not making that up. Omo chere say nkofo mienu de ye nim omu condition e critical. A soldier for Casalom critical. I was sort of say, Bimu and 9 and then sat at it. And we are even learning say, women cry and baby mukra is what involved. Now, young twas yen really a year in summer almost sounds so eka etwa so. Intuition was screen so I'll say 2 soldiers are critically injured while 1 has been traumatized. Additionally, the officers' mess facility also got hit and has been bent down completely on chair say. Baby, I officers no omo eteno that is what you are watching on the screens. So this the baby ane Ghana for soldiers omo base ewo I mean oh God eni nyankopon ne be mu ene te se ebi mutimi escape ya anka eni 100 soldiers or so no omo base wo hon omo nyina masse be hye. Which kind of nonsense is this? Yen to aso have you inti ye to aso or say the injured are receiving treatment, okay, at the level 1 medical bunker and are currently stable while arrangements are underway for the evacuation to United Nations Interim Force Headquarters Referral Hospital. In the HMC say, baby, time I deal with ACNO. Ya rush soldiers be more or mu play player, a bit more sure mu bomb no, they were traumatized. No, ye do makosha bunker. If you don't know what is really, you can't bunker, you can't war near, you can't bunker. Ghana ha any bunker, but bunker no asasiase. Ghana how by see underground. So and deep under Ghana. Yeah, the concrete. But how no I say fear. Bibia wo mu bi. But ginti omo ye ne sana so omo ye underground. Say be ya wall see na bomb AC a. Obetima akosha asase because bomb ni si sana asase ase. Your friend the bunker no concrete na your friend the bunker and na the safest place into Iran Israel war ya ekoso na most people almost Israel say no boss say your friend is saying missiles in air bar kwasha bunker mu and na ye underground no concrete into when I see soldiers for no bunker na se no your hospital e wo ho into when ye dey o makwa ye shop trying say UN4 e dey helicopter beba na ye dey o makwa UN4 headquarters referral hospital a soldier for. The Ghana Armed Forces assures the general public to remain calm amidst the fragile situations as troops are currently safe in the underground bunker. See, your patches see and didn't see any day. Missiles in the ban all the soldiers underground bunker ho. You see any day. Obieni assassin so bi omo nyina underground ho because one shot na utiaide akwakote. Meanwhile, the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has protested the unfortunate incident at the United Nations headquarters in New York and urged parties involved in the conflict in United Nations Interim Force to be mindful of their responsibilities regarding the safety of all peacekeepers in the theater. In Tomo Pacha say Sisi ane de Ghana for ecology complain ama UN headquarters about in sema esi. In the sense na esi ye logic complaint no. What is happening is that yakase yankofo no omamba so mbeko. So US for ni Iran for your montoka omonko. Na Ghana for me peacekeepers omo kwa making sure say Lebanon for war nya de ade cause you be protect your mono. Ye no ma be kunye. Ghana mo ba be kunya titi so your troops for omo 9 for what purpose? And the Ghana is saying said now they'll protest the situation. So that is exactly what is really going on at SM. I told you from the beginning that this war is spilling over. It's spilling, it's escalating. And from the look of things, not just a regional war, but then a world war. Why? Because Russia for any China for because US intelligence party say now Iran for bomb US bases information no munya from Russia. So Russia is supplying the US. Russia is supplying the Iran with information to bomb US bunkers. So Russia, US, China, joining Iran. Fighting US and Israel. The reason why China have joined is because Iran for cheap oil, more oil very rich and cheap. Oil, the majority of it, China. It is here, they also have to do things to protect themselves because, say, at the end of the day, oil no ambebima near catch off the global oil supplier on bread. So that is exactly what is going on. I see, say everyone is in for what the interest. So that is exactly what is really going on. I say a year in Sema Ojinwa. Now, in all of this, war no pimpin. Ghana prophet be ababe kasa. Now, so for a party say for the first time in 100 years, Israel-Iran conflict here US for ebelusu. Now, it's here for a sad. Say ebi mutimi sorry beka in some way because war here ekosu. When we so be akwako jina waka say Jesus. Afa Bible so the kokun war. Israel kra Bible nkwa no. Machines omu use. Anyway, so for you say there be US for be lusu war, Iran for be winning. O church mu. Yen share video we baba ka ti for. Ye beto aso the inti aso for we or the same way atuja.
If somebody knows Donald Trump, he should withdraw from the war because a huge disgrace is coming to America through those Iran and American war. For the first time, America will be defeated. I'm not a politician. I saw the flag of America going down, and I saw the flag of America weeping. For the first time, I saw the flag of America weeping. And you see a Tigu American flag as a suffer for the first time. And God said the solution is for them to retract. Iran will go down. America will go down. This war will go beyond America and Iran. America should withdraw. What I'm seeing, I don't have any evidence. So they can ignore it. Security service they can ignore. Political circle they can ignore. Everybody can ignore. But I've said it as it is. The strongest nation for the first time will have their flag weeping. It's either they weep outside the country or they weep inside the country. The flag is going down. Now America looks like he's winning, but the flag is going down. I said it, I saw it. You know when I started talking about this thing, right? Since last year. And I said, pray for America. And a lot of people started insulting me. I came back again, I said, pray for America. And I said, Third World War. Yesterday I said it. This is the last time I will mention this case. Because God asked me to say it 4 times. This is the last time. The flag of America is weeping. Today I've gone direct to the Iran and American war. Take agreement and settle the matter and cancel this war. If this war goes to the 14th day, America will start weeping. The timeline is 14 days. If it crosses the 14th day, we should not expect good news in America.
Therefore, in sama ekoso no so for no nsem ode aba betu dwa no so ono de ohu ye ne se sisia no pa de they won't who say US for able to war be, but then on the ground no so for a camia question nsem a wo kan no enye sa pepe e na bebi because sisia pa de uyo obi a odi wo na chi pa na onye bias the way are ye pump and ye pound Iran and yasam. In fact, Iran crown or more missiles singing and a down. So I don't know what this particular man of God is saying. Anyways, you better to us. But before I better to us, we'll try as much as possible. Near HSBT some of the comments are it's for young call for no at the aba. It's no I mean sure has see near reading some few comments of course so okay so definitely be air comment say okay so you be moving on let us say ya bomodiani akọ eye in some so we will still be based on this particular Iran US conflict because me no kasi you know Israel for or the warning ababema Ghana for now you see say amidst all of these conflicts na ekwosun obia was side ojina okay there are most countries almost support Iran South Africa and even Nigeria and they support so Iran for no I will say allow more. Now the reason could be simple because most of these countries are Muslim dominated. Nigeria is a Muslim dominated country, but then South Africa for no they really share values with one more or more. They don't like the US regime and also now all of these things are question no me no kase isia Israel any Iran conflict Israel for omo ambassador to Ghana or the same be ababe to say Ghana for any very careful so what we are air question we need to very much know say as a country we need to be on the right side of history. We say Ghana for be complaining and a bomb Iran but part said yeah no at the end of the day it is going the omo at the end of the day is going to make the whole world not just omu Israel but the whole world a better and a safe place. Now asama maybe asama nipa ya or this sense we be tujan US Israel ambassador to Ghana. Yenko tin some of this tuja ye babaka in same bibri or wa ebeshim because there is another reaction so ababe tuja.
Carefully the statement of the Iranian embassy, which is actually the same statement that Iranian ambassadors have asked to deliver all over the world. I also followed the Security Council debate on the 1st of March, the second day after the campaign started. Short of Russia and China, I didn't hear any other state who supports the Iranian narrative. Iran, since 1979, eroded its legitimacy. And again, I think also Russia and China, they know that Iran is not a legitimate country anymore. Legitimate country, yes, but not a legitimate regime. They are doing it because of Russia and China, because of geopolitical reasons. But I think that by and large, the international community understand that this source of evil in Tehran should be rerouted. And this wish, I think, is joined by all well-wishers in the world. I think also the administration in Ghana is aware of it. It's no secret. We call also the government of Ghana to join its voice. Ghana has a very important voice, especially since the last year. in Africa, in the international community. Ghana is an important member of the IAEA, of the Board of Deputies of the International Atomic Energy Association, that is dealing with Iran day in and day out. Ghana is an important player at the ECOWAS. Ghana is an important player at the AU. And in all those arenas, in all those international fora, we hope that the government of Ghana will join its support for the international campaign that is calling and looking and wishing for a strategic change in Iran, in the administration in Iran, that will bring an end to the instability we had so far and will open the road for a Middle East which is stable, which is peaceful. And I'm sure this is a joint wish of, again, all good or well-wishers in the world, including the government of Ghana. Please, Imam.
We've learned that there's some different.
That is the Israeli ambassador to Ghana in some of the other to just say Ghana for Omuhia support, because this is a very crucial time at Air Koswa. The side you stand on shows where you will be going. So that is exactly what is really going on. Now, in all of these things, the Ghana Air Forces, they've been doing something on the side that let's really applaud them. The Ghana Air Force is equipping themselves. The Ghana Navy is actually doing military drills. The Ghana military is actually surrounding and now they've restationed at Ghana's border, because this Israel-Iran conflict here, of course, there could be a spillover. Russia has its own interest in all of these conflicts, of course. China too has its own interest. The US, Israel also have its own interest. The Middle East so own interest. So it is better for us to position ourselves in such a way that if this thing turns into World War III, we can protect ourselves, our assets, our people, and also our nation. In aid of this, Ghana acquire new modern warfare helicopter. Now, in the past year, and last year during the 2025 budget reading by the finance minister, Kassila Toforse, he made mention of these jets. Or tell me, said they are acquiring two helicopter jets. Military aircrafts, and also a presidential jet, and also basically a military kind of aircrafts. Now, Minoka say no baku ababe doing to show the world screen. So the Ghana Air Force has taken delivery of a newly acquired Airbus H175 helicopter from France, marking a significant step in the ongoing modernization and retooling of its operational fleet. Forgive me. The acquisition forms part of a broader defense procurement program approved by Parliament to enhance the operational capacity of the Ghana Armed Forces. So basically, Ghana Armed Forces said that Mahama say most of the machines, any tool, any use, all of these things are old-fashioned. Because they are depleted. We retool them. We be in a position at the end of the day, we can fight the oppressor. We can stand our grounds. We can protect the nations. We can bomb and shoot down the terrorists. And for us to do that, we need to retool the military. So that's exactly what they are doing. Or say, the state of the art helicopter was ferried from Marignan, France, and arrived in Ghana, Accra, on Thursday, 5th March 2026, after successful completion of all technical acceptance procedures with the manufacturer Airbus helicopters. The delivery flight followed a carefully planned routine through Spain, Northwest Africa, before continuing south along the West African Atlantic coast through several countries en route to Ghana. And Omuchemu said, aircraft Sababe do. And Airbus say yes, baby, we a special helicopter for combat. And we the first baby to evade the enemy. No type of aircraft. Yeah, no matter we can bring it down. in the PIB Ghana, it PM Ghana. So that's exactly what you are seeing on the screens. In fact, the pictures are 4 by the way. Bakusuni, the same helicopter. Out the ocean inside now. This is basically state of the art. So that's at the force now where you can see say pilots no mujina in chain and also no the navy, the military. And also certain officers and also certain ministers, no, they stood in front to actually take a picture of this particular aircraft. I'm no say no, it is a Ababedua. They are so much happy because this is really going to help us. We know any Chinese DNA near you so a ton 2004 a kukum in Kofoya ya they be way modern one at the end of the day, no. These type of helicopters, Airbus. And the bomb helicopters are very strong. They can last for I think 20 or 30 years. And no can after 30 years, go bit my tongue and I'll be to my service EU. So that is the issue. Air cost so we are looking at this and at all of these things very closely. At the end of the day, more updates all of these about all of these things are air cost. How Ghana we see no yes or no. Yes, and we are taking matters into our own hands, and that is exactly what is really happening in this particular country. Now, we'll be moving on near a year in Sempo for also. Minoka reports be about the say 3 countries, 3 countries are now pressuring Ghana to take a different stance on position and now implementation on Babaye about gold. Now, I reported on this issue. In fact, CNN, BBC, Reuters, all of these people are reporting on this issue. But then you can share the whole screen. So, China, US, and other Western governments pressure Ghana to halt plans to replace fixed 5% gold royalty with a sliding scale between 5 and 12% Reuters. So now, according to Reuters, some party said Ghana for Kamiako say Yadrin say at the end of the day, no. Gold that yet ton amount for no said you into whom basically CKBI about all of you say a trade good and I say a ton says can ye babe too and no and I no no the US, China, any other countries air parties say they be Ghana for my yes sir. You see the reason why they are doing this is so simple. Gold a natural safe haven. Gold doesn't lose value per se. And now oil prices air cost through any dollar air cost from near there. The gold no a safe mode of a year transaction. People actually save gold and at the end of the day, say all your near there we can trade gold. A idea bruni because gold reserves. Ghana will be, UK will be, China will be, Russia will be, US will be. Into gold reserves, no, they be amplify because that's like the basic, fresh and the legitimate form of what transaction. But you can't carry gold around using it for transaction because it is too heavy. Far from that, no, what we do is we store the gold. It will be a friend a year reserve. Now at the end of the day, you use cash to do the tradings to buy the gold. So be our reserves, Ghana's reserves. But then a quite for or more reserves, no. Is that an umfasunya gold we edit to reserves no they buy the gold from us. Africa hano I think we are the second largest producer of gold. Now in sema a year Reuters for aircan about this particular issue to show the whole screens no so has or say China US pressure Ghana to halt gold royalty hike, document say. So now no or more parties say these countries are saying they are not happy with how things are going and how Ghana we intend to actually increase prices. First of all, a bullet no the summary. I say gold price surge prompts Ghana's royalty scale proposal. Diplomatic missions present joint concepts of to Ghana's lands minister. Mining CEOs express private concerns too. So I say China, the US and other Western governments have mounted China, the US, and other Western governments have mounted an unusual coordinated push to get Ghana to halt a gold royalty hike that could harm some of the world's biggest miners, according to 3 sources with knowledge to the matter and a letter from the industry body. Africa's largest gold producer wants to replace its 5% royalty with a sliding scale between 5% and 12% linked to bullion prices, part of an effort to capture more revenue from gold run successive historic highs. Inti omu chemu ewa ha say sa gold royalty hike no basically no from my understanding no a type of royalty be mining companies, okay? Mining companies omu krom ha say mining companies omu krom ha say omu to gold near the no to gold bia at the end of the day no I was oma or mine ABB. Into no osha the explanation or say a gold royalty hike simply means the government increases the percentage it takes from gold mining companies when they sell gold. What you say? Into no ube too gold. I say now your foreign mining company oko tonwa your 30% film. And the gold royalty. It's a gold royalty, is the share of money the government collects from gold miners for extracting gold from the country's land. It's your companies be or foreign companies or mining gold in this particular country. And again, for a CDB, 5% royalty near Jen Isra. Into a percent increasing to 12. Thereby, Ghana being Yesika, mind you, the whole of Africa is here. Yen the number one producer of what? Of gold. Yet, trust to be a man. Or say, miners said the upper bounds of the new regime could take effect as early as next week, unless amended or withdrawn, will make Ghana one of the continent's most expensive jurisdictions and could squeeze margins. So the miners are saying, say Ghana increasing royalty now. What will happen is that the gold no call amount who do so profits are a year or more mine no benyan so ebet. And also, they have to pay people, they have to buy machines, they have to do a whole lot of things, even pay for refinery. It will squeeze profits at the end of the day, because a Kamiako is a profit ni be 30%. So 30% Ghana for a jimu 12%. Mine so be Nipa or very fine gold so be one more carry gold no super one more extract gold no super. So now the US, China, and other countries, they've formed an alliance. And Ghana for say we should not do this. Now the reason why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama basically wanted to do this was to generate more revenue for the country. Basically, that is it. Now Ghana has agreed to cut an existing levy to ease passage of the reform. Reuters has reported, but the mining companies say the proposed scale remains too aggressive and have submitted lower counter rates. And umpire say Ghana buyer party so mamu worry not taxes be in your money maybe or and kawose mutua you be use taxes ni be increasing hikes diplomatic pressure. In addition to the US and China pressure, diplomatic missions from the UK, Canada, Australia, and South Africa have also intervened. Marking the three senior industry executives described as an unusual high-level response to a fiscal proposal. Apart from China and US complaining about this, Australia, Canada, and South Africa also complain about this. But then the question is our gold. So to gold if you crown, yes, gold be able to be ye pay 12, ye pay 12%. You don't argue with us. Na mumu de mu fa gold na ko yim kro yie. Ye ne yembre. Now go near two and sadana. Anyways, it's Mahama will deal with them. I said this is the first time I've seen diplomatic community get involved at this scale. A senior industry source said. Representatives from the missions met Ghana's land and natural resource minister this month and presented a joint document outlining concerns. Two people with direct knowledge of the meeting said the group is seeking further talks with finance minister. It is here among folding all of these countries, they are putting pressure on the government of Ghana and even Krano, a bimokse ombeshia a finance minister. So the heads of missions expressed concern that the operating environment of the mines will be challenging. One executive said all the sources requested anonymity. Yes, anonymity. Forgive me. But basically, they want to stay anonymous. So anonymity because of the sensitivity of the matter. It's no one more but they want to remain anonymous. The UK, Canadian, Australia High Commissioner, and the US, South African, and Chinese embassies in Ghana did not immediately respond to comments. So that is exactly what is really going on. I mean, so what you say in Sema Abba and Daha said US and other countries are more pressure government of Ghana say royalties can be on bedroom or many in Jinhua. It's here for the head and tail of all of these issues, no, and it's a yeah, two screens, no, so just a any assembly. So that is exactly what is really going on in regards to this particular issue. So, same be but then at the end of the day, no, almost so much didn't here. And I say they came in with this particular thing, saying say idea be happy as a so that is the issue so now we'll be following this update to make sure say the BCBR in regards to this issue no you have more updates concerning this whole issue. Now me no ka say Dr. Bawumia and Samira you reported earlier say omako akoka obi man so any that lumba ne kan ya ka kwentu ane but this time around no yes ya ka kwentu mu ya ka Arab ane why because Samira Bawumia onini kunu Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia they actually went to the United Arab Emirates okay to actually perform certain rites Muslim rites for this holy period and at the period of Ramadan now omuko no and Chebiana Israel-US Iran conflict is and what we saw was that at the end of the day, CSR no Ghana for no more hotels near the other no. Initially, no, the bombs were not coming into Dubai, Qatar, and co. But subsequently, Qatar started throwing bombs to these countries. They said they are not going to allow the US to use their bases to fire at Iran. So basically, they were not involved because the US bases what these countries no. What really happened was that they were not using it for any coordination, but then Iran went ahead to bomb it anyway. And some of the drones, some of them misfired. At the end of the day, we saw say a big hotel near the even certain flights were cancelled. Into Dr. Bawumia on Samira, they were caught in the crossfire. But we are learning the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have done well by actually going far to actually rescue them, and we are learning say Saudi Arabia we are learning say a safe and sound. But then in all of these things, Kevin Taylor Kevin Taylor is actually giving us a clue as to what really happened. DNC me no ka say Samira Bawumia omuko pay mo hwa say according to Kevin Taylor no Nyankopon kwa na abo omo say Mahama owa abadaye anke krom ho ombeka ye video when you see some Kevin Taylor information and intel or the other betuja concerning Samira Bawumia any kunu or maka Arab or concern this whole Iran bombing US bases just say editor Eka hotels be near the other.
Katana Bawumia koye it was because of your gold. He is the only person who will be president, and that they should understand that even the gold board now Mahama established, it gives him a lot of room to be able to deal directly with them. And they should start funding him. Now the only thing who said was because, and I'm telling you this from Qatar. Bawumia ko Qatar no nani pa ho. Bawumia ko Qatar na Ghana for ho. There were brokers there, which we have our investigative sources in Qatar. The only thing that saved us Ghanaians, a bomb na Iran for 2, and then who Mahmoud Bawumia, the location. He didn't tell anybody that on an air could strike deal with Qatar. Because right now, he needs those people who are there willing to take our gold to give him money for his campaign. That's why he was there. Makacham say, and you see, his wife is the one leading this. Now you don't know what namphobia. They are the ones telling her, say, they can crack this deal for Mahmoud Bawumia. And that Bawumia should come. It's Mumusa Bawumia say, what did he actually go do in Qatar? It's a question he doesn't want to answer. Mumusa no, oh we yanko wo Qatar. In this already letter na Bawumia mo release na so we study letter na oh dem kan. Dr. Bawumia and his wife Hajia Samira are both fine and safe. The couple left Doha, Qatar, this morning for Saudi Arabia to perform Umrah, an essential Islamic practice. They left Qatar for Doha, Saudi Arabia. What were they doing in Qatar? You can't tell me Bawumia flew all the way to Qatar and to connect to Doha. It doesn't work like that. When you fly from Ghana, you go straight to Doha. So how did Mahamudu Bawumia end up in Qatar? He has no relations there. Uncle Rokos, no relations. Boondocks. Bawumia was just trading your nation in Qatar. And Nitina, they have avoided interrogating what Bawumia was doing there. But you see, Bawumia is a dangerous politician. A very tricky guy. Now, you know, you're a very dangerous woman. This woman will sell anything to make sure Bawumia is president because she needs something from Ghana. These are very two dangerous people. And I know me say, Bermano Onimu Nyansa, with all due respect, to make some decisions. Wama Obawi using a drubone criminality ni nyoma bi. Into free Qatar ne ba, free Dubai ne ba, bumusa nsa koye de o Qatar, because it's something that's supposed to concern us. But we are a national asset. We want to know, what were you doing there? Were you on holidays? Because when you went to Qatar, it was during the fasting. So you can't tell me, said during the fasting you went to Qatar for holidays. Did you go there for an event? Let us know the event you went to. Because Bawumia, as the flag bearer of the MPP and the former vice president entering Qatar, Bawumia will inform the embassy that expect me in Qatar on official duty. Did Bawumia do that? No. Bawumia sneaked into Qatar to do their on business. It is our goal he's preparing. So, Mumbusa Omo. Omo mne Bawumia koye no. Omo didn't say Jimmy.
Okay, so that's in sema Kevin Tilla Eka. Na yentwa swa, me no kasi achi notorious armed robber bi. Ya blaming him, but then this guy a very notorious armed robber. Now, we are learning that this particular man was arrested because of a fraud robbery. Unka ye si wo picture bi babus and sikani adiade and also that form wo. Yes, these were the weapons that were paying or kudro akwa appeals court fee ekukuno eviano. Now let's read this particular statement if the Ghana police for her back concerning a konfu ya yachin or say police bodyguard false robbery attempts on courts of appeal judge in Kumasi. So you are learning say police bodyguard and etimi fast or stop this robbery and appeal court so you be boni to ekuno you be one second ekuno say the late JB Dankwe you be consent the late JB Dankwe ekuno ya. So police bodyguard false robbery attempts on court of appeal judge in Kumasi. The Ashanti Regional Police Command wishes to inform the general public of a fraud robbery attack at the residence of a court of appeal judge in Kumasi as a result of alertness and bravery of a police guard. If you tell me, say, yes, police need we a bodyguard, and you no pa anka a conform no ye the too. Preliminary investigations indicate on the 3rd of March 2026. At about 11:30 p.m., the suspect identified as Patrick Allo, 23, Akwesi 21, scaled the fence wall of a judge residence, holding cutlasses and a pair of scissors, and attempted to forcefully open the judge's private vehicle. They were spotted by the bodyguard on duty. Into a part say, bodyguard we are learning say or your police bodyguard or guard if you says uncle for you know, or move for a year appeal judge ni fee. Second any scissors. Even though fence will not me a froye. No more free and some could be judge no they dying dining forcefully. 3. In the process of effecting the arrest, the suspect attempted to disarm the officer. Acting in self-defense and in accordance with police operational procedures, the bodyguard discharged his firearm, resulting in gunshot wounds to Kofi to the left leg and right legs of the suspect respectively. Inti a part say ebra police no a oye bodyguard who so omu bie dan no by force on person mu room that's kind of scissors so and a bodyguard be pie so pe no and nkofo no dan ne omeni eba bodyguard na say ye the second ba bidwa ye pum bodyguard no me agye de owo bia na at the end of the day ni tima ye de pese be na bodyguard no sukute true and a bodyguard na say ne either some be kumi anase me na me kumo but bodyguard no ye bibi what he did was that he gave a warning shot. We no shoot to Sanko for suspecti mieni Patrick Allo any akwesi oshutu bako in the left leg and oshutu bako in the right leg. Afi no mutimi the enante. The injured suspects were immediately conveyed to the Comfort Teaching Hospital Kumasi, where they are currently on admission responding to treatment under police guard. Until you boom to we omoda former fedie omuhu di ombe no. And at the end of the day, no ye ambulance before mo de omo call Comfort Teaching Hospital. No kase isi ano police for then they sure mo they under police protection. 4. The Ashanti Regional Police Command commends the vigilance, professionalism, and bravery of the bodyguard whose swift action prevented a potentially serious accident. The police command assures the public of its continued commitment to protecting members of the judiciary and all citizens and urges the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the nearest police station. They say the yanum for ya chiomo mo akudro mo ko wi ade a appeals courts appeals judge ni fie. Hey, anyways, kudos to how your friend is say judges no bodyguard police bodyguard no otimi gina pintin a te say ya hwe ni yanka we de ebe ya asema odwon crown ti ase obeda sorry no te say what ya kuku appeals court bi a akuku appeals court judge ni bi a te say odwon crown ti. So we commend the bravery of this particular officers. This is in sema ekoso no in so that is exactly what is really going on now. In the indemnity, we will also be doing what, giving you more updates as all of these various events continue to unfold right here in this particular country, Ghana. And it's therefore you better trust with full force because we know in some of the ABB, it's a lot of issues which is going on, and definitely we'll move on to our next update. I wish you could continue this to 3 a.m., but then because of time, it will end with this particular last update. Bremo na yeboshi na yakwa the camp of Tamale. It's here for what you are watching on the screens. A feed Tamale whatever. So on the Tamale there, one of the mode of transportation and not transmission. Okay, make transmission there too. Where the transportation one of the most or more transported from one place to the other. Moto. Now, me no ka say in these residents are more around. No, say you say ye be and no ka the nibi ne would be a protest. Residents of Tamale omu both and omu protested a decision a fee a year a higher office or airba and authorities or airbus ye IGP Special Police Force if you community name. Now the entire moto for any residents omu both na party say emre bi atwa mu no Tamale ho no. In fact, untimi a bosses untimi mpie. Adanya akonfo won ye wudifo o ma jikro no afa eni wudi akobe botu ekun enke yenim hawa nofo no se bi mo etie na sa group we no ebro munya information say IGP Special Police Force no ye yi omu nyina area ho ne de o makobe bi foforo no na group is de bi ente ase na omutiro mo motorbike so and you late at night you could hear them moving around near the other we and omo movie around say identity police from Babefa omo Black Maria. Sa Black Maria de chicha konfo powerful year to say Tonya de adi nyina esisi so. Identity police from Babefa omo Black Maria ene niema. Okay, if you are at the end of the day, no omo fi kronim omo si de bi omo ntia ase. They want their voices to be heard and they don't want the police for any Black Maria name tuo akese ne sa car na etu sisi no aye de koro omo pese be fefi because ye fefi Tamale ho say Kim ye besi no enye na me no kase amanfo bebre aba be kasa concerning this particular issue. Ye kwa hwe video we of how residents ni bi owo krom ho or check why the decision by the Ghana police to take the IGP Special Police Unit from the Tamale, it is a bad decision because Tamale is actually big. It's a big place. Now, then the day, to trust some air course or no for a special force like this, ensure peace and security. Then, Sebio, a chrono the so person saying because he need him the course no for. It's young with near bay or no so a year, the statement or make ye. As to why you know or more demonstrating say police for more person IGP Special Forces from me or church in same bremu said Tamalini dear Sa IGP special forces ni fiwa any base Sodom and Gomorrah pa. In fact, here share this particular video babaka. We have another angle to this particular issue. Here share that particular video for this particular eyewitness.
I was at home when I got a message that they said they are leaving this evening. Some were even speculating that they were leaving dawn. So I said, okay, you know what? Wait first. If there is the one thing we need to confirm first is that we need the information to be accurate because we have a lot of misinformation and disinformation around. So the first thing we did was to confirm, and we got from a stated source that some particular politicians have written or called to the IGP to tell them to leave, and that is what we don't want. We do not want them to leave. When was the last time I did an advocacy video? When was the last time I came online to come and talk plenty? It has been months. That is because of the peace of mind and the comfortability we have been getting because the special forces have been here. And if they leave, trust me, it will not reach tomorrow morning 4 a.m. They will start up. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, the Tamale market is completely empty. Everybody has left because they know their lives are at stake, because they know they are not going to be safe, because they know that once they leave, that is all. Peace will stop. All the good things that we have been enjoying because they've not been there, people will become lawless. Look at what happened during the traffic light. They made everybody wear the helmet compulsory. Immediately they leave, what do you think they'll do? They'll go back to default setting. They must not go. Black Maria must stay.
But currently they are packing out. They are taking their luggages, everything. They are moving out. I mean, what should we do now?
So what we should do is we should go online. Go on any social media platform that you can have access to. Whether TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, wherever you are, use the hashtag Black Maria must stay, hashtag IGP must make them stay. They must stay. We are sharing them on Facebook. If you're online or anywhere you are, go online now and go and share. Make your own post, make your videos. We must all stand in solidarity together because the youth of Tamale are tired. We are tired. Every time we go for advocacy, we go for seminars, we go for workshops just to educate them on the uses of drug abuse, but they keep doing it and children are now being affected. Are you going to wait for your own niece or nephew to be affected before you know you're supposed to be here? I cannot go home and sleep because I know if I go home at 10 p.m. they'll come for me on the road.
Okay. Right, so that's what's currently happening here at the Global Dream Hotel, where the IGP Special Task Force.
Okay. In summer air no. So this was one of the people or no so car demonstrators no one I said Black Maria and we'll see if he tamale ho. Now we'll move to a very lighter note near their end because this whole 6 March here need that no. It's a very sad thing here, but then a good thing because I received a sad news today. But then what the end to us so. The good thing is that and now one of the things you see and they say in nearby a year someone was showcasing the state of the art 6 March a year. They say Ojen Hokra on TRC. They say a bit more air applauded. We are really shocked by how Diana Samoa is now embracing Ghana wear and a culture. In the video a babaka a better also.
Ghana for ya di animonyam kase ma awrade Wa calculate a Ghana yenye mfie dodo say. Nyame ayade. Yankopon wa yade bebre ni ebo Ghana mpanifo nyina so abaso. Ye papa no masofofo. E free ye papa Dr. Kwame Nkrumah ever see your current president Excellency John Dramani Mahama, ye papa Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, Chief of Staff, parliamentary candidate for a year minority leaders and majority leaders. Flag bearers ahodoɔ, obia soldiers, police, fire service, prisons officers, migration officers. Ni kan ye jahwan, ye papa no asofofo ni ye kristofo. Efiri nkola so kwesi mpanifo so. Ghana man nyina ye da mo ase. Se mu nyina eboa masudwe bo man. Ye make nyina ne se ya minhira mo. Na mumie mwa ma my Ghana entu. Bi enti na me kasa. Me no de betima ye ne se ye didi a ye mfa ntufo. Ye nuanom asofofo ye be hye nkom a enya nkomtro. Ye be ka nyankopon asoma kire nyamema. Ye nuanom anwomtofo wan ye ka jabie. Mumye nyina mfa nyame asem ensi wo man. If you see hwe nyankopon ade bo mu a wosim fiti ase na asem no. Na asem ni nyankopon. Na asem ni nyankopon. Ono an fiti ase no na oni nyankopon. Ena me so mo ya ni. One could I never be or yet. Another day, we will see what we are happy Independence Day in Jesus Christ's name. Put your hands together.
Davi.